Alright, what's going on YouTube? So the first things first in starting this by any means challenge is figuring out your macros. If you do not know what macros are basically what your body needs to function on a daily basis. So when I say that, I mean how much protein your body needs, how much fat your body needs, how many carbs your body needs, and then how many calories your body needs in a day to function properly. In starting to figure out your macros, you have to do one of two things. So step one. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna figure out how much you weigh. So me, on an empty stomach in the morning, I weigh 175 pounds, right? So 175 pounds, you're gonna times it by 14 to 16. All right? And this is gonna help us figure out our calories, so our maintenance calories. So what maintenance calories are basically what your body, how many calories your body needs in a day to function. So when I times 175 times 14 to 16, I get 2450 to 2800 calories. So on a day-to-day basis, my body needs about 2,450 calories to 2,800 calories in a day to function properly. Okay? Now, since you're in this range, sorry, my little brother's over there. Since you're in roughly around this range, kind of find a middle standpoint. So I said 2,600 calories. So my body needs 2,600 calories a day to function. Alright, so 2,600 is my maintenance calories. Now, when understanding what you're trying to do, whether it's to gain weight or to lose weight, you have to look at this number. Alright, now if I wanted to gain weight and be on a calorie surplus, I would figure out that my body needs 2,600 calories, so I would add calories to be at a calorie surplus to gain weight. So if you're trying to gain weight, that's what you would do, you'd add it. Now, if you're trying to lose weight and be on a calorie deficit like we are as we get ready for these 12 weeks of dieting, you want to be on a calorie deficit. So, understanding how to do a calorie deficit. So what I'm going to do, if I know my body needs 2,600 calories to function, I'm going to lower my calorie intake by 500. So we're going to subtract the 2,600 by 500, and we get 2,100 calories, which means I would need 2,100 calories a day to lose weight. Don't mind my ugly handwriting. Now we know, step one, we know how many calories we would need in order to lose weight. We need to be intaking 2,100 calories. Now, step two. Step two is figuring out what our protein intake is going to be. So what is our protein intake? So typically, what I would recommend, if you're a lean, average Joe person, I would recommend about 1 gram of protein per pound. Now, if you are somebody who is very overweight, somebody who has 25 to 30% of body fat on them, I would suggest keeping your protein intake low. So around 0.8 grams per pound. Now, as we get closer to the show, and we start leaning out, we would want to have our protein intake a lot higher. So it'll be anywhere from 0.8 to 1.3 grams of protein per pound. Sorry guys, Mused being annoying, and I'm trying to teach on YouTube. Alright, so as for myself, I know, again, I want to keep this at an average point. So myself, I know I weigh 175 pounds. I am going to have 175 grams of protein. Boom. Let's say there's somebody who is overweight. They would want to be, their their protein intake would be different. So if they're, I'm going to put it to the side over here, because they would want to use a lean body weight mass. So let's say the person weighs 250 pounds, right? Pounds, just use this as an example. If a person weighs 250 pounds and they're at 30% body fat, if you figure out your body fat, they're at 30% body fat, what you would do is, it's out of 100, a percentage, you would minus this, right, which gives you 0.7, and you'll times that by 250. That gives you 175 pounds of lean body mass. So that person who is 250 pounds realistically only has about 175 pounds of lean body mass. Alright? They would have 175 grams themselves of protein per pound. So now I have my protein intake. So I know my calories, one. I know how many calories my body needs, and I know my protein, how much protein my body needs. Step 3 is figuring out my fat intake. How much fat do I need in order to lose weight? Your body needs fat to function. There's a big misconception with a lot of people who exercise, who think, you know, carbs are extremely bad for you and fats are extremely bad for you. That is completely false. I'll talk about carbs more a little bit later, but let's just worry about getting our fat intake. So now figuring out our fat intake. So again, I weigh 175 pounds, right? So this is my weight. Put your weight here. You're gonna times your weight by 0.3 to 0.4. I get anywhere from 52 grams of fat, that's times 0.3, to, if I times it by 0.4, I get 70 grams. So again, this is my range. This is my range of how much fat intake I can have. Alright, so again, we're going to want to pick an average. So I'm going to start this prep at 60 grams. So I'm going to be at 60 grams of fat for this prep, okay? So now we got fat out of the way, we're going to go into figuring out our carb intake. What people don't understand about carbs is, if you ask anybody who does not know too much about nutrition, they go and they think that, you know, carbs are bad for you. Like, you should, if you're trying to lose weight, you should not have any carbs. And that's just simply not true. The case with that is that, you know, people typically don't know how many carbs they need to function, whether it's to gain weight or to lose weight. Since we're losing weight, our carbs are going to be a lot lower compared to what right now I'm kind of still bulking. I'm near the end of my bulk. My carb intake is at like 350 grams versus if me trying to lose weight, it's going to be like this. So let's figure out how to get our carbs. So step 4, carbs. So figuring out our carbs, we're going to do one of two things. Protein equals 4 calories per pound. Your carbs are 4 calories per pound. And your fat is 9 calories per pound. So the reason why I do this is because you're going to take these numbers and you're going to plug them in with the numbers you already found to figure out what your carb intake is. You guys know my protein intake is at 175 pounds. So we're going to times 175 times 4. It equals 700 calories. Just in protein alone, I am consuming 700 calories. Now with our fat, we know our fat is 60. 60 times fat equals 9 calories per pound, so 60 times 9, and that gives us 540 calories. Now, I'm going to put a line here, and we're going to add that up. We're going to add this portion up right here. Then we get, so this right now is how many grams, or how many calories we are consuming with our fat and our protein. Now, with that being said, we're going to take our initial new maintenance calories to lose weight. So we know our maintenance calorie is 2100, or our new calorie deficit is 2100. And we're going to put 2100, and we're going to subtract it by this number right here, this 1240. And that gives us this number right here. So now with our carbs, we know that we have 860 calories left to play with our total number of 2100 calories. So that's all we have left. So now the next step to this is dividing it. So you'll take your 860, and we want to divide 860 by 4. And when I divide it by 4, I get 215. So this number, 215, is our carb intake. So step 5 is putting all this together and seeing our final new macros, okay? So we know now, week 1 of this 12-week, and the reason why I'm doing this so early is because I want to give you guys enough time to figure this out for yourself, follow my instructions in this video to figure out your macros. So in order to begin this 90-day challenge, you are going to have to watch this video and figure out your macros to start putting you at a calorie deficit. So now, for myself, I know that my protein intake for week 1 of this diet is going to be 175 grams. My fat intake is going to be 60 grams. And my carb intake is going to be 215 grams. And you guys know, again, because we are going to be using the app MyFitnessPal, I can't pass this many calories. So calories 2100. So here it is. These are the 5 steps on how to figure out your macros. And this right here, these macronutrients right here are going to be the ones we are going to be using. Well, I am going to be using for week 1 starting January 14th of my 12-week prep leading up to my men's physique competition. So I really do urge you, if you are going to be participating in this 90-day transformation challenge, you turn my post notifications on and make sure you watch every video, because every single video is going to be very beneficial and crucial leading up to this diet as we all begin to do it together. And I'm putting this up, you know, what's today's date? Today's the 3rd, so I'm putting this up 11 days prior to when we all start this diet together, and figuring out that, well, I'm putting this so you guys can figure out what your macros are and what you're gonna be at as you begin this diet. So this should give everyone enough time to figure this all out and to be fully prepared and get ready for this new journey, this new fitness journey. So I figured out mine. Now Cameron's recording me right now, so I'm gonna figure out his, and because he's gonna participate in the 90-day transformation challenge as well. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please leave a thumbs up if you thought it was very beneficial. And yeah, now we just wait, wrapping this up, wrapping up the bulk, and it's just time to eat clean. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.